Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and to a brand new video. Today we have my May TBR. So I've been a bit ambitious with my May TBR and I have, let me count, 15 books on it, which is the same as in April. But I also have books I plan on reading for certain videos that aren't included in this TBR, so I also have a couple of books left for April TBR, which there's 6 books there. I'm not going to be able to finish them in the next 2 days. So I'm obviously going to have leftovers as well for my April TBR. So this is definitely ambitious, but I feel like I could do it if I tried hard enough. First up, I'm going to start off with the romance I want to read. The first one being Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. This is the second book in the Dreamland Billionaires series. And I cannot believe I still haven't read this. The third book is out and I really want to read the third book because that's my favourite brother. Whereas this one's about Declan, and I really wasn't a fan of Declan in the first book, so this has really kind of put me off reading about him. But at the same time, I have to get through Declan to get to the end, so... Also, who knows, maybe in this book he'll be more, like, sufferable, because it's his book, so we'll learn more about him. Dreamland Billionaires series is about these 3 boys who inherited a fortune in a theme park that's basically Disney World. And they all have clauses as part of their inheritance as to what they have to achieve. And I think Declan's is to marry. Yeah, he had to be married, and I think it's fake marriage, or yeah, I think it's a real marriage, but you know, like fake dating, getting married when they don't like each other. So I think that's going to be really interesting. It's just not my favourite trope, so nothing has really encouraged me to pick this up. I'm also really terrible at picking up romance sequels, so I need to make this a priority, and it's super thick, so you can see why... Goodbye book. So you can see why I've put this off for so long, but there also is no excuse left, so I need to just get on with it ASAP, pretty much. So this month's the month, or I'm gonna have to have a serious word with myself. Next up we have Guild by Raven Kennedy. This is the first book in the Plated Prisoner series. I think it's a King Arthur retelling? King Midas, so it's the Arthurian legend retelling, right? Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this, and I feel that the romance doesn't really kick in until the third one. But I'm intrigued about this, and I have the whole series on my Kindle, so if I end up loving it, at least I can just continue reading. But I'm excited about this one nonetheless, and it has been something I've been wanting to read for ages. I was just waiting to pick up a physical copy, which I thankfully did this month. So yeah, I'm really excited to put this on my TBR, and I'm sure this one will be read as one of the first few. Then a very exciting read that I almost dropped my entire April TBR to read. Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home by Jessa Hastings. This is the third book in the series, but it's the second Magnolia Parks book. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I love Magnolia Park so much. The first book seriously took me by surprise because I really thought I was gonna dislike it so much, because this is a toxic romance. So the first one follows Magnolia Parks and BJ Valentine, and he's horrible. He cheats on her, she kind of cheats on him. They never accept that they love each other. They're always pushing each other away, but there's so much more to it. It's just so beautiful. It's just such a beautiful story, but like, it's not a romance. Like, if you're looking for like 2 lovers, second chance, no, not for you. It's completely like toxic, but it's also beautiful in the way it's written and the way like it's told, in my opinion. And I just so badly want to continue Magnolia's story and see where it goes, because I'm actually obsessed with her. She's like my favorite character ever. So yeah, I got this for my birthday off Kira, so I am so excited to pick this up this month. I have no doubt in my mind that this will be read first thing, even though it's chunky. I am so excited. I'm kind of just waiting for that perfect moment. Like, I just want a day where I have nothing else to do but sit and read this in its entirety with a hot beverage. That's it. That's all I want to do. Also, I love these covers. I know they're weird, but God, I love these covers. And look like the little mermaids. Slay. Next up, we have a couple of horrors. First up, I really want to read The Haunting of Blackwood House by Darcy Coates. I really liked The Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcy Coates, and because I got 2 more for my birthday, I decided to only pick up one, even though if I love this, I will end up picking up the other one, I can just tell. But I thought I'd pick up this one next, because that's probably the most similar to the one I've already read, and I really want this author to have another 5 stars from me. Or at least a 4, but let's pray for a 5. And I think this is about Mara, who lived at Blackwood House as a child. Her father, I say her father, her parents used to be like hold fake seances and stuff like that, and then she kind of had a bad childhood as association. Then in the future, she's like grown up and has to go back to the house. Maybe her parents died and she had to inherit it or something. But I'm so so excited. For a start, I just love these covers. Second of all, the first book was so amazing. I see the first book, it's not a series. I just mean the first book I read from Darcy Coates is so amazing. So I really want to read this one. I also this month would like to pick up Darcy Coates' Dead of Winter, which I have as an ARC. But this is my main priority. I'm really excited about it. And then I really want to read They Drown Our Daughters by Katrina Monroe. Oh, my gave us the word bookmark. I picked this up with Lauren when I went to London, and we went in December. It's now May, or going to be May, and I haven't read it yet, which is really upsetting because I was really excited about it. But I read some really bad reviews on Goodreads and it has a terrible average rating, so it kind of just put me off. But I also feel like you can't let those things happen. You need to just go with it and just enjoy it for yourself. So we follow Meredith, who I believe is an adult in this. I believe she splits from her wife and so has to go back home to live with her mother or something. But the place she lives is a haunted island or something like that. And her mum unfortunately has Alzheimer's, and as a result is starting to believe the ghost stories are real and the ghosts are telling her to drown her children. I feel like there's going to be so much more to it than that, and I think that the discussions on Alzheimer's are going to be really hard hitting and thought-provoking, especially as like I don't know if you've been affected by Alzheimer's, you know what a horrific disease it is. So I feel like it's either going to be a really good book that's going to hit me emotionally or it's going to be too much for me. I don't know yet, but I am really excited to read more horror. That's been my goal this year, is to read more horror, and I feel like this one's going to be one that's a different type of horror to what I'm usually reading, which is normally paranormal. Even though this has haunted islands, I think it's going to be more about fighting your inner demons. I could be wrong, I don't know. But this is the most beautiful cover, and I'm just really excited to pick this up because the synopsis does sound amazing. Then for fantasy, I'm going to be continuing my read of Heartless Sky by Zodiac Academy. I mean, I've been reading it this month, and I'm sure I'll read more before April's up, but I don't think I'll be finishing this book because it's so big. So I have full intentions of continuing this into May. I'm loving my read. If you do not know what the Zodiac Academy series is about, it follows two twins, Tori and Darcy Vega, and they are the long lost heirs to the throne within Zodiac Academy. No, they are the thrones within the Zodiac Academy world. I can't remember what the world's called, but they go to school at Zodiac Academy, which is a boarding school where you learn how to hone your witchcraft, hone your elemental skill, all those things. And it starts off as a bully romance in a way, but I would say that, okay, the romance is a very main focal point in the series. It absolutely is. It's a fantasy romance. But there's so much plot to this, so much like political intrigue and focus on so many side characters. There's a lot of POVs in here. I'm really enjoying the series, and I think if you can overlook not so great writing in exchange for good plot and good characters, you will really enjoy this, because I do. So yeah, that'll be my continuation of this read. Then I really want to pick up What Lies Beyond the Veil by Harper L. Woods. I picked this up recently in the works, and now the entire series is in there, but I don't want to pick it up until I know I like this first book, so that is my plan. So I think Estella lives in a world where there's a veil protecting them from the Fae, and one night the veil breaks and all the Fae come in and claim her as part of their own. Now that is pretty much all the synopsis gives you. I don't know anything after that. But I'm assuming it's kind of going to be like ACOTAR, where she has to go and live in the Fae world. I don't know, but I know this is new adult, so I'm kind of excited about that, to be honest. And yeah, can you tell I have nothing else to say? I don't know that much about it. I've seen a lot of people say it's pretty good, and yeah, I'm very much intrigued. It does have a pretty cool map. And I love when books have maps, it's always a very good start. It does have a list of trigger warnings in the front, so, you know, if you plan on reading this, check it out. It's set in a medieval style world, so that's pretty cool. And then finally, I want to read The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. I think this is a mix of fantasy and horror, so that is very intriguing to me. That sounds like a perfect read. I think it's about a student, a deaf student, which is really nice for the representation, in a boarding school. In a boarding school or university? In a university. And students start to go missing and the shadows start to speak to her. Sounds pretty good. The back says it's a paranormal thriller laced with twists and revelations that will stop your heart. I picked this up at Christmas time when everybody was getting it at their Illumicrate box, I want to say, their Fairy Loot Adult, and it sounded really interesting, so I'm surprised I haven't read it yet. So this is on the list for May. Then of course I had to pick up Atalanta by Jennifer Saint. This is the newest release of her mythology retellings, and I am so excited. I can't believe I didn't read this in April. I'm shocked with myself. But now I really need to get my hands on it. This is following Atalanta. And I don't know anything about it, to be honest. Yeah, it doesn't really tell you much at all. I just know that Jennifer Saint writes my favourite mythology retellings, and if this is anywhere near as good as the other two, it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. If this is not a 5 stars, I'm going to be so annoyed. And I always try and pick 2 classics to kind of catch up with my goal of reading a classic a month. So first up we have Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. I kind of took this as a challenge because Kira said another classic for you to put on your shelf and never read. And I took that as a challenge. Thank you, Kira, for the motivation to read this book. I was like, I'll read it. I'll do it right now. I've actually read Mansfield Park as a teenager and I remember absolutely nothing about it. Nothing at all. But I remember liking it. So I'm kind of hopeful that that's going to have continued. It definitely sounds like my cup of tea. I think it's just going to be really sweet. I could be wrong. But yeah, that's on my list. I never know anything about classics. And then also Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Connor was helping me choose some of these books and he said that I should read this one because he hated it and DNF'd it. I don't know why that means I should read it, but I'm excited to do so. Again, it is one I've read, but I was, again, in school when I read it. I don't remember it. We didn't like study it or anything. I just read it myself, so I don't remember anything. But I'm glad to finally be reading my hardback editions because they're kind of piling up and where are they? There. They're all kind of piling up and I'm not reading them, so I'm glad to finally have this on a TBR. Then I have a bit of poetry. So I have Homebody by Rupi Kaur. I picked this up with Jade and Jade also picked it up. Jade read it and gave it 5 stars, I'm pretty sure. So that makes me think it's going to be good. I also feel like in spring is when I just thrive with poetry. I want to read it all the time. I just love sitting in the sun, again, reading poetry. So yeah, I'm very, very excited about this one. There's nothing really I can say. It's poetry. I don't know. It says, after feeling disconnected for so long, my mind and body are finally coming back to each other. That's like one of the poems on the back. So yeah, you can kind of get a feel for what they're going to be like. I'm really, really excited to pick this up because I want to pick up Rupi Kaur's other works. So this is going to be like my test as to whether I like them or not. Next, I'm picking up She Is a Haunting by Trang Tan Tran. This I am reading because it's Connor's copy and I'm going up to visit Connor in June. So he said, read it before you come up to me and you know, you can bring it then and I'll read it after you're done with it. So I'm going to read this month so that I can do that exact thing. It's a beautiful cover. I don't know much about it. It follows Jade and I think the house is haunted and tries to sabotage her plans. I don't know, just sounds really, really fun. Next on the list is In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. I have not yet liked any Ruth Ware books and I'm on the hunt to find one I like. So I'm really hopeful for this one. This one sounds really, really interesting. I love a woodland aesthetic and I am also so in a thriller mood right now. All I'm reading is thrillers, which isn't good for the rest of my TBR because I don't actually own a lot of thrillers. But yeah, this one sounds quite good. I'm really intrigued by it and it hopefully will satisfy some more of my thriller cravings. And finally, we have Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. I'm embarrassed about this one. Lauren bought me this for my birthday in 2022. Making it one of the oldest books on my TBR and I still haven't read it. It was on my October TBR. I didn't read it obviously because it's now on my May TBR, so I have to read this. There is no reason I have not read this. I am so interested in this. My interest has never like wavered and every time I read the synopsis I'm like, oh my god, it just sounds so good. Lauren loved it, I'm pretty sure, so I'm hopeful, but I don't know, every time I pick it up it's just something, like every time I go to pick it up there's just something that's like stopping me. So if I don't read this month, I'm going to be absolutely furious at myself. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it. Like, that's my promise. So those are all the books I'm deciding to read in May, well, I'm hoping to read. I mean, I'm also going to have to carry over some books from this month's TBR, April. So it's going to be quite a lot of books. I'm also on a Kindle binge and I just know I'm going to end up reading some Kindle books. But, you know, I am trying my best and I am hopeful. Yeah, thank you so much for watching this and I shall see you in the next one. Bye!